What if the future of air combat is not won by the most expensive stealth fighter, but by the fighter that can survive, reload, disappear, and return before the enemy even understands what happened? For decades, the world has been told that stealth is the ultimate answer in modern warfare. The F-35 became the symbol of that belief, a flying computer wrapped inside a radar-evading body. But far away from the noise of superpower politics, Sweden built something very different. It did not build the Gripen to be the biggest, the most expensive, or the most intimidating aircraft in the sky. Sweden built the Saab JAS 39 Gripen for one purpose: to survive a real war, where air bases could be attacked, runways could be destroyed, and pilots may have only a few minutes to land, refuel, rearm, and return to battle. The Gripen is not just a fighter jet, it is Sweden's entire defense philosophy turned into an aircraft. Its name comes from the Griffin, a mythical creature with the strength of a lion and the vision of an eagle, and that name fits perfectly. The Gripen is fast, flexible, intelligent, and designed around one of the most important truths of war: survival depends on movement. While many modern fighters are built around highly protected air bases, long maintenance cycles, and massive support systems, the Gripen was designed for a different world. It was designed to operate under pressure, from short runways, hidden bases, and even road strips if needed. This is what makes the Gripen different. It is not only about performance in the air, it is about staying alive on the ground and getting back into the air faster than the enemy expects. The story of the Gripen begins in the late 1970s, when Sweden needed to replace its older Saab Draken and Saab Viggen fighters. At that time, Sweden faced a serious strategic question. Should it buy a foreign fighter like the F-16, F-A-18, F-20, or Mirage 2000, or should it build its own aircraft from scratch? For a small country with a population of just over 10 million people, creating a modern fighter jet was not an easy task. Even giant defense industries with decades of experience were struggling with rising costs, political pressure, and shrinking budgets. But Sweden made a bold decision. It chose independence. It chose to build its own multi-role fighter, one aircraft capable of air combat, ground attack, and reconnaissance. That is why it was called JAS, from the Swedish words jakt, attack, and spaning, meaning fighter, attack, and reconnaissance.
This decision was deeply connected to Sweden's Cold War defense strategy. Sweden developed the BAS 90 airbase system, which was based on a simple but powerful idea: never allow the enemy to destroy your air force on the ground. Instead of keeping aircraft concentrated at a few large bases, Sweden planned to spread them across many smaller bases and road runways. This made it much harder for an enemy to wipe out the Swedish Air Force in one massive attack. But this strategy required a very special kind of aircraft. The fighter had to land on short runways, take off quickly, survive rough conditions, and be serviced by a small crew in a very short time. The Gripen was built exactly for this type of battlefield. This is why the Gripen is often described not as a show horse, but as a workhorse. It was not created only to look impressive at air shows or to dominate marketing brochures. It was created for real combat conditions. Imagine a Gripen landing on a road base somewhere in Sweden during a crisis. The pilot shuts down, a small ground crew moves in, fuel is added, weapons are loaded, systems are checked. Within minutes, the aircraft is ready to take off again. This ability to generate repeated missions quickly is one of the Gripen's greatest strengths. A fighter jet that cannot fly often is useless in a long conflict. The Gripen's real power is not only that it can fight, but that it can keep fighting. The aircraft's design reflects Swedish minimalism and functionality. Every part of the Gripen has a purpose. Its canard delta wing layout gives it strong lift, agility, and short runway performance. The canards help your crew control and also assist during landing, while the delta wing gives stability and performance at higher speeds. The aircraft is intentionally unstable, but this instability is controlled through digital fly-by-wire technology. In simple words, the Gripen is designed to be agile, and computers help the pilot control that agility safely. This combination allows the aircraft to perform sharp maneuvers while still remaining manageable for the pilot. Earlier versions of the Gripen used the Volvo RM12 engine, which was based on the General Electric F404. This engine was redesigned for improved reliability and safety because the Gripen is a single-engine fighter, and single-engine safety is extremely important. The aircraft earned a strong reputation for engine reliability and low maintenance demands. But with the Gripen E, Saab moved further. The newer Gripen E uses the more powerful F414G engine, providing greater thrust and improved performance. This allows the aircraft to carry more fuel and weapons while maintaining strong speed and range. The Gripen E is not just an upgraded aircraft, it is a modernized platform designed for the future battlefield. However, the true strength of the Gripen is not only in its engine or aerodynamic shape. The real secret is its brain. Modern air combat is no longer just about who flies faster or climbs higher. It is about who detects first, understands first, reacts first, and shares information faster. The Gripen E is built around advanced radar, sensors, data links, infrared search and track systems, and electronic warfare equipment. It is designed to collect information, process it quickly, and give the pilot a clearer view of the battlefield. In modern warfare, information is life. A pilot who sees the threat first has a better chance of surviving. This is also where Saab's philosophy becomes very interesting. While many countries have focused heavily on stealth, Saab has taken a different path. Saab believes that stealth alone may not remain enough forever because radar systems, sensors, artificial intelligence, and electronic warfare are constantly improving. A stealth aircraft may be harder to detect, but it is also expensive, complex, and difficult to modify once the airframe is built. Saab chose a different solution: advanced electronic warfare, software upgrades, flexible systems, and rapid adaptability. In other words, instead of relying only on hiding, the Gripen focuses on confusing, detecting, adapting, and surviving. This does not mean that stealth is useless. The F-35 is one of the most advanced fighter aircraft in the world, and its stealth, sensors, and networked systems give it powerful advantages. But the Gripen asks a different question. What happens when cost, maintenance, availability, and sortie generation matter just as much as stealth? A fighter sitting in a hangar cannot defend a country. A fighter that is too expensive to operate cannot fly often. A fighter that depends on large, vulnerable infrastructure may struggle in a real war. The Gripen is designed to solve these practical problems. It is built to be affordable, maintainable, flexible, and ready for repeated missions. This is why the Gripen has become more relevant in today's security environment. Europe is changing. NATO is strengthening its northern and eastern defenses. The Baltic region has become more important. Countries are watching the war in Ukraine and learning that modern conflict is not only about advanced weapons, but also about logistics, repair, mobility, and endurance. Smaller and medium-sized countries are now asking a very practical question. Can we afford not only to buy a fighter, but to operate it for decades? This is where the Gripen becomes a serious option. Recent developments show that the Gripen story is not ending. Brazil has become one of the most important Gripen partners, not just buying the aircraft, but also producing it locally. This is a major achievement because it shows that Saab is not only selling jets, it is sharing industrial capability and building long-term partnerships. The Gripen E and the two-seat Gripen F are also gaining attention because they offer modern capability with a flexible operating model. Colombia and Thailand have also shown interest in newer Gripen variants, proving that the aircraft still has a place in the international fighter market. Every new Gripen customer strengthens the ecosystem, improves long-term support, and increases confidence in the platform. Sweden itself is also moving forward with the Gripen E as part of its future air defense. Now that Sweden has joined NATO, the Gripen is no longer only a Swedish national defense tool. It has become part of a wider European and NATO security structure. This is important because Sweden brings a different kind of air power to NATO, an aircraft designed for dispersed operations, fast turnaround, and survival under pressure. In a possible Northern European crisis, this kind of capability could be extremely valuable. But the Gripen is not perfect, and it would be wrong to present it as unbeatable. It is not as stealthy as the F-35. It does not have the same global production scale, the same massive user network, or the same level of deep strike stealth capability. In the opening stage of a high-intensity conflict against the most advanced air defense systems, stealth aircraft may have a major advantage. But the Gripen's strength is different. It is not trying to be a direct copy of the F-35. It is trying to offer a smart alternative for countries that need modern fighter capability without extreme cost and complexity. Behind every fighter jet are real people, pilots who must trust the aircraft, technicians who must repair it quickly, taxpayers who must fund it, and nations that must defend their skies without destroying their economy. The Gripen respects this reality. It shows that military power does not always mean spending the most money. Sometimes power means efficiency. Sometimes survival means simplicity. Sometimes the smartest weapon is not the one that looks the most futuristic, but the one that can keep working when everything around it is under attack. This is why the Gripen challenges the way people think about modern air power. The real question is not simply whether the Gripen can beat the F-35. That question is too simple. The better question is, what kind of war are you preparing for? If a country needs deep stealth penetration and highly networked operations, the F-35 is a powerful answer. But if a country needs an aircraft that is affordable, adaptable, easy to maintain, fast to service, capable of short runway operations, and strong in electronic warfare, then the Gripen becomes one of the most serious alternatives in the world. Sweden did not try to copy America. It built a fighter based on its own geography, budget, threat environment, and defense culture. That may be the Gripen's greatest lesson. The future battlefield will not reward only the most expensive systems. It will reward systems that can adapt, survive, and return to the fight again and again. In that kind of war, the Saab Gripen may not be the loudest aircraft in the room, but it may be one of the smartest. So the final question is this: in the next generation of air warfare, will countries choose the invisible fighter or the fighter that refuses to stay grounded? Maybe the answer is not one or the other. Maybe the real future belongs to mixed air forces, where stealth fighters handle the most dangerous missions and smart workhorses like the Gripen keep the air campaign alive over time. Because wars are not won by aircraft that only look powerful on paper. They are won by aircraft that are available, adaptable, maintainable, and trusted when the sky becomes dangerous.